What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. Welcome to my channel. It's hump day, y'all. How's your hump? I don't know. I haven't even approached the hump just yet. I haven't gone nowhere near nobody's hump. I'm just here in my bonnet, minding my own business in my house because I don't have to be outside. So, this bonnet conversation took on legs that I never thought it would take on. But, it's been an entry. We get over here on the internet and we have a think piece about everything. Everything don't really need to have a think piece, I don't think. But, here I am talking about it. So, is it hypocritical for me to like judge people having think pieces on bonnets and then turn around and have my own, conversation about, the effects that the lack of ability to wear a bonnet to class has everybody in such a tizzy. Y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're not going to waste no time this morning getting into the things. So, let's get into the things. I've been creeping around, on the internet trying to find subjects and things for us to talk about. And, you know, I found some things for us to talk about. Sometimes y'all send me things, which I really enjoy. So some of the things, was sent to me from outside sources. But today we're going to start here with two historic Black-owned banks announced that they are no longer looking to compete with each other and instead decided to pursue a $1.27 billion merger and bring both companies together. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. UNITY. That's what Queen Latifah said. Anyway, two of the nation's oldest Black-owned banks are joining forces in a proposed merger that would create the largest Black-owned bank in the United States by assets. South Carolina-based Optus Financial Corporation, the parent company of Optus Bank, and North Carolina-based M&F Bank Corp., the parent company of Mechanics and Farmers Bank, announced a definitive merger agreement that would combine the institutions into a single bank with approximately $1.27 billion in total assets. The merger could bring together more than 220 years of combined history. M&F Bank was founded in 1907, is the oldest Black-owned bank in North Carolina, while Optus Bank traces its roots to 1921. The combined institution is expected to operate 10 branches across North and South Carolina and continue to focus on expanding access to capital, home ownership, and small business lending in underserved communities. Under the agreement, M&F Bank Corp shareholders would receive cash for their shares, with the total transaction valued at more than $105 million. James H. Sills III, the current president and CEO of M&F Bank Corp., is expected to become the CEO of the combined company, while Optus chairman Paul Mitchell would remain chairman. The merger is expected to close in the fourth quarter of 2026, subject to shareholder and regulatory approval. I mean, I feel like, unity is the best way to go, especially when you're talking about, opportunities for businesses and homeownership. I feel like, a lot of times people go into these banks with good credit and, potential to build, and the powers that be stand in the way. So, banks, hospitals, attorneys, these are things that we need in our community to help us move forward. Financial advisors, we just talked about the other day, a financial group that, is helping people to learn how to build their money. So, yeah, if you got $100, a couple few hundreds, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to set the goal for anybody, but maybe it would be a good idea to just open an account in a Black-owned bank to see, you know, to see if it works to your advantage when you're talking about loans for homes and things. We trust them. We trust those people over there that are not like us, that don't have our best interests in heart. So, maybe it's time to do something different. Let's see what else we got going on. In Black excellence news, 23-year-old Selena Cartier makes history as the youngest PhD graduate at the University of Houston. She earned her bachelor's degree in psychology at 17 and her master's degree at 18. And at just 23, she has now become the youngest PhD graduate at University of Houston. Shout out to her. First comment, show Cheyenne Bryant. Um, I'm done. I don't want to talk about Cheyenne Bryant anymore. I think, we're going to focus on Selena here. That's awesome. Um, I saw this comment and it was so irritating because here's this lady standing here in her robe, in her cap and gown, and somebody, fire 100s, ignorant ass, can't wear a bonnet to class, but you can wear one at graduation. What about this says bonnet, girl? I guess she thought she was being funny. Yeah, another one, another young lady over here doing great things, a degree in psychology. That's been the ongoing degree that the people have been debating about out here. So pretty sure we'll be able to find her dissertation if we need to check her credentials. But yeah, shout out to this young lady. It's always good to see young people doing great things, and she is well on her way at 23. What were you doing at 23? I had just graduated from cosmetology school. I think I was a year in the business, but yeah, she's already on to, like I said, doing great things. We hope to see more of this young lady. What about this young lady? Do we want to see more of her? Um, Former Vice President Kamala Harris isn't ruling out another shot at the White House. During a recent appearance at the National Action Network event, she was asked if she plans to run for president in 2028. Well, DJ is, so might as well. I mean, DJT, is that his name? Anyway, you know who I'm talking about, the Grand Wizard. He said he running, so why not? I don't know. Harris kept it real, replying, "Listen, I might. I'm thinking about it." She noted that she understands the demands of the office and is currently weighing how she can best serve. Family, would you want to see her on the ballot again? I'm first comment, yes, please. We need something different. Y'all better not fail another open book test. I am gonna reserve my opinion until a later date. I'm not sure that's what we need. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that just yet. Lotus Egyptian Flower, good morning. Good morning, Jaguar. What do y'all think? Do you think that, Kamala 2028, is that the business? I can't say right now how I feel about it. Right now, I feel like ain't none of them people know business for me. I'm just disappointed in everyone. I don't like anyone, none of them. Jaguar, I'd love for her to run again so she can get her ass kicked again to laugh at her. We don't have time for that, Jaguar. That woman said plainly she would never do anything just to help Black people. Well, there you have it. We got a no. We got a hell no over here. I don't know. Sometimes, Jaguar, I feel like and maybe it's not the best way to do things, but I rely heavily on my instinct and on my spirit. And my spirit ain't saying, "Yay, let's do it." My spirit makes me feel uncomfortable when it comes to this lady. I voted for her at the last, election because I was left without a choice. And I don't think, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you have two things that you don't like. You know what I mean? Do you want to eat, carrots or Brussels sprouts? I don't mind Brussels sprouts. I'm just saying, like, if you're having two things to choose from and you don't like either one of them, so I don't know. You say Kamala would have been the best choice, but the powers that be pulled the ladder up to keep her from climbing up. She would have been the best choice then. But what do you think about 2028? Like I said, right now, I see nothing. I say burn the whole damn thing down. Start all over. Let's start from scratch because Houston, we got a problem when it comes to our government and the way it's put together. See, everything has changed. This world has changed. It's time to make some changes over here because every day I get online and I find you're flocking cameras and young people being hung. Another young lady was hung. I think it was here in Jacksonville. So I haven't got the full story, but yeah, I don't know, Kamala. Is that what you really want? Or are they pressing you? You know what I'm saying? Are you gassed up because of last time? You know what I'm saying? When we had a choice of shit or other shit. I don't know. So Jaguar want to see you lose. See you go ahead and run just for you can get laughed at. I don't know. Yeah, I'm leaning towards I don't think so. Where is T? She's not here. Lotus Egyptian Flower sent me this guy the other day, and I was like, why? His history is much like mine, and I don't understand. I guess, it's always one. It's always one. You say your vote doesn't count anyway in the American system. Your vote is just marked as the popular vote in this electoral college that makes the decision. Remember, Hillary got millions more votes than Trump. Yeah, that's why I said burn the whole damn thing down. I don't like to say my vote doesn't count because I feel like that discourages people from going. So, I have my Puerto Rican friend at work during election time, I was like, are you voting? He was like, nah. You know what I'm saying? And he's a young person in his 30s. So I don't like to be in the mindset that it doesn't count. But yes, the electoral college is set up to snatch whatever the decision is, so the powers that be can make the choice, whatever choice they want to take. That's why I say, set a flame to that bitch and let's start all over with a different plan. Right now we don't have nobody to look up to in terms of civil rights. It's just a whole bunch of who shot John over there, and we sitting here like, oh, what is happening? And then so many other like natural disasters. There's so many other distractions going on. It's hard to focus, and we don't have a lot of time left. Like, we're at the midterms, so it is what it is, child. Exit plan. That's what I say. Exit plan. Where are we going to go? And this is another thing. I think a lot of times we think of things on such a small scale in terms of what's going on within our own country. It's a worldwide situation. It's not just here. These crooks and criminals are, making plans, world leaders from everywhere making plans, and they're all in their own best interest. So can we get about 8 more Mamdanis? Anyway, this guy, I'm gonna just let him talk. We'll get into him, bit by bit. But here he is. Amir Hassan is his name.
Talk about the American dream. Born and raised in Flint, Michigan, the birthplace of General Motors. Son of a father, a grandfather, a grandmother, an aunt, an uncle that all work for General Motors. Son of an educator. Protecting America, getting back to the fundamentals and the foundation that made us great in the beginning. That's what we're doing this cycle. The contrast is clear, the time is now. If you love America, make noise. If you believe in first responders, make some noise. If you back our military, make some noise. And if you're proud to be a conservative, talk about the American dream.
If you're proud to be a conservative, child, first comment, at some point, Black people have got to stop allowing themselves to be used as prop. I think he's very comfortable in his position. Someone tell him that American dream they speak of didn't include him or any of the people past free labor. He don't care. He doesn't care. He's got his own agenda. You just sent me a video? Okay. Let me check it out. So I wanted to get a little more information. This bothered me so much because this is don't make any noise. This is exactly how I grew up. I grew up in Flint, Michigan. My whole family worked for GM. It was like, Flint is not the same now as it used to be, but it was a city of affluent black people with nice homes. When I was a kid, I had ballet lessons, tap lessons, private schools, all the things, that you would want, and private schools that included diversity. I've talked many times about being the only. I was in both positions. I was the only a lot of times, but when I was in Flint, I did attend private school that, all of our parents were making good money for GM. So I wasn't an only in that particular situation. So it's disheartening to hear this man get up here and talk. So I read a little bit about him. And so the more I read, the more disturbing it became. Amir was born and raised in Flint, Michigan. He comes from a General Motors family. His grandparents migrated from Arkansas and Alabama, which most of ours did. My grandparents migrated from Arkansas and Florida. During the Great Migration, seeking opportunity, they found in Flint. Amir's father worked for General Motors, as did multiple grandparents, aunts, uncles. As a direct result of decades of Democratic policies, the opportunity that Amir's family knew no longer existed for Flintstones. He's saying his family, we not gonna speak for them. Amir graduated high school as the class president from Northwestern Edison High School. He was from the north side. And if you're from Flint, you know what that is. I'm from the south side, where he played football, basketball, and baseball against the best athletes across Saginaw Valley Conference. Amir stood in multiple sports, like to say pound for pound. The Saginaw Valley Conference was the hardest hitting conference of the state. Um, this is where the stuff gets a little weird and uncomfortable. After a brief stint at Bethune-Cookman University, so he attended at HBCU. Like, what went wrong with this man? I would say the military is what messed him up. Sorry, not sorry. Amir enlisted in the U.S. Navy in 2006 at the height of the global war on terrorism. While serving, Amir was stationed in Italy and worked security. He worked security at Guantanamo Bay. While stationed at Guantanamo Bay, Amir worked in the prison camps as a watch commander. Does he wear an ICE uniform? Because that's where it's leaning toward. Supervising all officers and dealt with some of the world's most dangerous terrorists up close, learning on the job how to handle criminals in a potentially charged, harsh environment. Later transitioning to an intelligence analyst from 2010 to 2013, Amir helped foil terrorist plots to keep Americans safe. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep going. But the fact that this man was over here in Guantanamo Bay, dealing with what I would consider prison camps, it says a lot. Um, you said he needs to reevaluate his life. My aunt retired from GM as well. Though I would say the people in charge are different from today. The money made years ago does not equal what it is today. Not at all. Not at all. And you know what happened? A lot of people, when child, when Obama made all of that, sold a lot of GM company, sold a lot of the company overseas. During that time, a lot of people came to work for GM. And as far as I know, were never hired on as GM employees. Like, there's people that's been there for years working as what you would consider a temp. So it's definitely not cool. The new GM versus the old GM. And last time I went to Flint, everything was closed but still there. It's weird, like how the plants, are still just empty shells of a building. Jaguar sent me this, so I'm gonna go ahead and play it. Let's see what this is about. Let's see. Can y'all see that? Yes. Oh wait, what's happening? Hold on. I feel like I got a couple things going on. Let me try it again. Ciao. I just hit a hump. I just hit a hump, y'all. It's okay. Everything's good. I'm gonna figure it out. Technical difficulties. I did everything so smoothly the other day. Here I am. Okay, here we go.
Vote. It's all about democracy, y'all. Your vote gets counted with the rest of the votes in the country, and they get sent off to the Electoral College. What's that? The Electoral College are a bunch of officials who do the voting for us. So in case we elect the wrong person, they can fix their shit.
Whoa. Hold up. Who the hell are these people?
Well, no one knows for sure, but whoever they is, they the folks who actually do the real voting after we do our pretend vote. Yeah!
Power to the people. Hold the on. You're telling me our votes don't matter?
Our votes are like suggestions.
So this November we should...
Yeah! Dunk the vote!
Not our votes are like suggestions. That's hilarious. And sadly true. Um, I don't know, revolution. It's time for a revolution, y'all. To me, the only way to make change is, move things around. And when I say move things, I mean the money. That's why I think it's probably a good idea to go ahead and invest some of your money in opening an account in some of these, Black-owned banks, so that we have other options. And to hell with Wells Fargo or whoever else is over here, monopolizing the money. Whew. It's so stressful. It's just stressful out here. Uh, and sometimes I just don't even know what the daggone revolution is supposed to look like. Sometimes I think I'm on the right track and then I don't know anymore. Help me, y'all. What do we do? What is the revolution supposed to look like? We still got to go vote. We still got to go vote, y'all. We have to make our suggestion. Our ancestors did not fight as hard as they did, just for us. So we already losing ground 54 years later. Goodness sakes. Moving on. What else do we have on the docket on the agenda today? Miss Rachel. Miss Rachel is out here standing on business. It's nice when you got somebody out here teaching your kids, and she got some people in an uproar, not us. Miss Rachel stands on business. She speaks out. I appreciate her. She says, "We know the investigation and everything that followed would have been different if Nolan Wells were white and his friends were Black. Nolan and his family deserve justice." This is what an ally looks like. I feel like a lot of times allies, sit on their hands and they shake their heads, but they don't want to say anything. Ms. Rachel has spoke out on Gaza, got the people mad at her. Now she's speaking out on this subject matter. Ms. Rachel is a staple in my household. So I'm glad that, she's speaking in a way, that speak up. What's going on with Nolan Wells is not okay. I've listened to the audio that has come out. I didn't pick that up. I just didn't, because it's hard to listen to. I mean, it's hard to hear. It's hard to understand. I watched Don Lemon. Don Lemon had a panel the other day. Funky Dunedin. I went over there and called the man, not Don Lemon, but one of the panelists, and called him, a house nigga or something to that effect. You said they're gonna merge the lady. She's pissed off. Those people over there that we're not allowed to say their name, and now she's pissing off the YT establishment. She stood on business, though. I appreciate it because that's saying all money ain't good money. Apparently, she's not worried. You know what I'm saying about her coin. So that means that she's genuine about, you know, what she does. She's here for the kids to learn, and you know, is more than likely teaching her kids. You know, we need households of allies to be raising their children with the right, you know, mindset. And I think we don't talk about that enough. She's not the only one, but she's a big public person. And she said, to hell with y'all and those people over there that are running our country. So, you know, ciao. Like I said, sometimes I just get speechless when it comes to what's going on. Did you see the IG with the sound engineer who worked the audio to call the regard? I didn't see the sound engineer, but I did see Nancy Grace. Listen, we heard what was said, and you know, for me, it just validated, you know, what we already knew. This is Mississippi, so that's why I said, you got me, Jaguar. Go ahead and send it, and I'll go ahead and pull it up. We got Ben Crump. There's a lot of opinions about Ben Crump and how he handles business, but my opinion was always that we need a high-profile person to keep eyes on the situation. I know that Nolan's mother has subpoenaed all the social media, so TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, all of those places have been subpoenaed. She wants to see all the communication. And yeah, let's see it. Pull it on up. Pull it on up. Okay, you sent it. Let me go check it out. Y'all over here working. I appreciate it. Let's see. Okay, let me know if y'all can hear it.
What I did, what you're looking at on the screen, and why I chose to approach this audio the way that I did. As a professional audio engineer with experience in dialogue editing, dialogue cleanup, sound design, and post-production, I decided to work on that C-TOE call using traditional audio processing techniques rather than relying on any AI voice separation or AI enhancement. My goal was pretty much to preserve as much of the original recording as possible while making the quieter dialogue and background audio easier to hear. So I basically used techniques such as subtractive EQ, compression, gain adjustments, noise reduction, frequency isolation, and other traditional processing methods. So what I did was I separated Vicky, the C-TOE dispatcher, from Warren and the audio originating from the boat so that I can concentrate more closely on what was happening behind and around Warren, pretty much on the boat. And I specifically chose not to rely on AI because aggressive AI enhancements and voice isolation tools can sometimes introduce artifacts and distort the speech or create ambiguity around the sounds that were originally present. And for something this serious, I wanted my processing to remain as conservative as possible. You'll also notice time code and dialogue written on the side of the screen and pop up during each segment. That dialogue represents what I personally hear as an audio engineer while processing and repeatedly reviewing these sections. I'm pretty much providing it as a listening reference, not as a declaration that my interpretation is the only possible interpretation. And that's important. I want you to listen for yourself, use headphones if you have them, listen closely, and decide with your own ears what you believe is being said. You can also return to the original unprocessed recording and compare directly with what you're hearing here. You'll also notice that my time code may not match the regular timestamp on the original uploaded video. And that's because I'm working inside a professional post-production timeline, a digital audio workstation, basically using SMPTE time code, which in film, that's displayed in hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. Film and TV timelines are completely different from timestamps that you see when you're watching regular videos or when you're watching a movie and you hit pause. So basically the time code on the screen is there to identify the precise location within my working session not to represent the elapsed timestamp displayed by the original video player. And I hope that makes sense. For this first video, I'm sharing only approximately 37 seconds of the call. I originally intended to continue much further, but once I separated the dispatcher from the boat and started concentrating exclusively on the background dialogue, what I believed I was hearing became extremely difficult for me to process emotionally, and I needed to take a mental break. But I wanted to release this portion because some of the details that stood out most to me occurred very early in the call, like right at the top of the call. And so I'm gonna let the audio play. Read my transcription if you want to reference, but don't allow it to determine what you hear. I want you to listen first, listen again, compare it with the original recording, and then judge it with your own ears. I hope this breakdown helps.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Shut up! Shut the fuck up!
So before I play this, I want to quickly explain what I did, what you're looking at on the screen, and why I chose to approach this.
It's so wild. Like, you know, this kid is on the phone calling to get help for the boat so calmly, while you can hear the other kids in the background freaking out. You know what I'm saying? Nolan, what they say, Nolan, wake up. I thought he was still, you know, they don't know what happened to him. He was still on the island, but somebody clearly said, Nolan, wake up. Somebody said Bart was supposed to not be there, but, you know, damn it, Bart. That comes out very clear. Hopefully, you know, this will, because they're trying to close this investigation real fast. It's clear that the judge, who's the parent of one of these kids, and the powers that be, you know, it reminds me of, what's his name, the guy in North Carolina he's in jail, but, you know, his son killed that girl on the boat. They had a Netflix series on it, but it reminds me of that, how the police went to the hospital trying to stop everything. If you zoom on the transcript, you can see them saying, you killed him. Yeah. I did see that. Can I zoom here? Let me see. Alex McDowell. Yes, it reminds me of that, like how they went and covered that whole situation up. Let me see if I can zoom in for y'all. I don't know if I can. I'm gonna let that play. And let's see, is it bigger over here? It's a little bit bigger. Obviously there's a cover-up, so hopefully this will serve as enough to like continue to investigate. I have, let me see, we got the woke ginger and the jolly ginger. One of his supposed to be best friends did an interview, and they were over here messing around with editing of what was going on with this kid. You know, there's a lot of talk of Nolan was my best friend, but, you know, none of these people acting like best friends. Let me see if I have it pulled up, because I'll be trying to organize things. And okay, here he is.
Watch the cut. They cut the interview. Very, very, very important. Watch this. Watch when he said Nolan was on the boat with me last year. Watch this.
Rings in the Gulf Coast, go to Horn Island. And, you know, we went last year. Nolan was on the boat with me last year. And
you see that cut? Nolan was on the boat with me last year.
First thing I want to ask you is, did you kill Nolan?
Okay, let's break down this interview. For those of you who do not know, I was an interrogator, human intelligence collector, source operator in the Army. It's important for me to give you those credentials up front because I want you to know from where I'm coming, where I break this interview down. I am an expert in what I'm about to do. He's actively trying to give you a story that has been given to him. His mother, who is a judge, I believe, this is my opinion, has coached him on how to answer questions on the timeline the morning of. Why? I don't know. I'm not saying this guy did it. I'm not saying this guy did anything. I'm not saying that. I don't have the evidence to be able to say that. What I'm saying is this is deceptive. What I'm saying is you're not giving me a sequential order of events, and it's very red flaggy. He was coached to point out the waters were calm, the winds weren't blowing that hard. It was a great day to be on the water. He was coached to say that. I feel strongly that he was coached to say that because it was so awkward that he said it right there. It in no way answered the question. He's avoiding it. The question was, what the fuck were y'all doing on the boat? Were you listening to music? I mean, Officer Tatum set it up for him. Hey, say you were listening to music. He set it up. And the guy instead of giving that easy end, yeah, we were listening to music and drinking beer and hanging out, he's giving this big, long, convoluted roundabout, and he throws in there awkwardly, by the way, it was a nice day out.
So, I mean, we followed each other out, but it was not anything all my buddies' boats couldn't handle, or like, it wasn't like
Why does he feel it's important to point out to us the conditions of the water and the weather and whether or not the boats can handle it? This is where I would exploit that information in an interrogation. Hey, why do you keep mentioning that? Can you explain to me why is that important? There's a reason that he's bringing this up. The reason that he knows and we don't know. Immediate red flag. Immediate deception.
Started 4th of July, my buddies and I had talked about this week's upcoming, everybody's very, very excited for.
He just did what's called a timeline switch. And this is also this is something, if I was taking notes in the interrogation, I would take a note of that and I would come back to it and I would exploit this area because why did you timeline jump there? I'm going to tell you what he did, and I'm going to let you listen to it one more time so you can see it. He said it started 4th of July. My friends and I spent weeks planning up to this. So he started on the 4th of July. He said the word started on 4th of July. Then he went 3 weeks backwards. And anytime somebody does that, you got to take note of it. Like, why are we timeline jumping? Watch. I want you to watch that.
So, yeah, he said the interview is 45 minutes long. I just thought that was interesting. Yeah, Tatum is not like us. He's not a professional journalist. I think it's interesting, though, that they're willing to go talk to him. Why, did the parents okay it? You know what I'm saying? Did they make it safe because they know, just like Ginger was saying, why isn't he asking these questions? It's because they know he won't. He set up, the design is for Tatum to let these boys tell their story, but, you can't fool experts. That's, there's that. And there's so many people. Thankfully, I hope they keep their foot on these people's neck. This is not okay. And, it's one right after another. It's a lot of attention being put on Nolan, but there's 8-10 other kids, you know what I'm saying, have gone missing or hung and calling it suicide. It's crazy out here. You afraid to let your kids leave the house, for goodness sakes. Anyway, where was I at? So this conversation has gone on and on and on about what's inappropriate. So I'm going to start here. Apparently, Jeff Bezos' daughter and famous DJ Hugo were recently spotted at Ibiza Airport flying commercial instead of a private jet because of a major charter problem. Jeff Bezos' daughter was coming straight from Ushuaia, I don't know, and seems to had no time to change. It was spotted with her party outfit from the club at the airport. She thought she was flying private, but unfortunately, she has to fly commercial. So what's up with this? Is this appropriate to wear at the airport? Should she have been allowed to fly? She paid her money, you know what I'm saying? So she should be allowed to wear whatever she wants. Is this okay to wear at the airport? I'm bringing this up because of this bonnet conversation. So do you want to sit next to this lady at the airport? You said, you talking about Tatum. You said it's not interesting that they spoke to Tatum because they're playing in people's faces. Did they even care about Nolan? These kids, it don't seem like it. It don't seem like it. They don't have no Miss Rachel energy. You know, they over here trying to cover it up, and you know, seemingly it's becoming uncovered bit by bit, day by day. So yeah, this lady walking around in the airport, she don't have nothing in that bag. She got a carry-on bag. She don't have a t-shirt in that bag. What's in her carry-on? She walking around looking trashy as hell with them shoes that come with your Barbie. Remember Barbie had those kind of shoes? But you know, she was coming from somewhere. Was she getting on her private jet? And unfortunately was not able to do that. So she tiddly bobbing with her big booty self through the airport. And is this appropriate? Should she be allowed to fly this way? Is this ghetto? That's some of the terms that were used for you know, wearing bonnets. Damn, I didn't know Jeff Bezos, her daughter was caked up. She's caked up. She's a juicy one. How come she didn't open that suitcase and take a t-shirt out? Because she's Jeff Bezos' daughter, and now she got to roll through the airport, you know what I'm saying, dressed like that? They said it's Jeff's son. Who, the DJ? Let's see. This says Jeff Bezos' daughter. Why are there several accounts saying this is his daughter? It's not. Jeff Bezos has one biological daughter adopted from China. I mean, I don't know. I'm going by what the thing said. It really doesn't matter to me if it's Jeff Bezos' daughter or not. The lady thought she was about to fly private, and she is now on a commercial airline. My question is she must be somebody wealthy, but let's do, you know, devil's advocate. If she was black, because we've seen black girls turned away from restaurants for wearing revealing clothes, you know what I'm saying? Because restaurants have dress codes. Do airports have dress codes? I feel like I've seen video of black women being asked to leave, you know, the plane because they were dressed inappropriately. So, you know, that's why I picked this up, because, you know, like I said, this conversation with the bonnets has worn me out. I'm not even understanding, honestly, why it became such a big conversation. So we talked about it Monday, and my opinion has not changed. I feel like there's nothing wrong with the university, you know, Tuskegee University implementing a dress code. I've worked at a school, and this is the thing. The conversation became about respectability politics. And I'm not going to say whether it is or whether it isn't. I know my perspective came strictly from being an educator, not in an all black situation. So it had nothing to do with, you know, respectability politics. It was simply that the institution that I worked for had a dress code, and it had nothing to do with bonnets. The last school I worked at, they said no baseball caps. So the boys and the girls couldn't even wear caps to school. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what their reasoning was behind that. All I know is I was supposed to enforce the policy. So my experience has been the kids that come to school that want to wear their bonnets and want to wear their pajama pants, because they would so much focus on the bonnets, but there was a lot of other things mentioned. Want to wear pajama pants. They want to wear flip-flops and open-toe shoes and, you know, revealing clothing. I had a transgender student that was so happy about her new titties that she was always somewhere with them little titties out. And so, you know, little tank tops, and she had a sweater on, but it was always hanging off, you know, enough for her. We have to address this as faculty, that, you know, your student can't walk around like that. So if you walking around Walmart or the airport or any public place that you want to go in your pajama pants and your bonnet, I do not care. I wouldn't particularly do it, but I don't care if that's what you choose to do. But it's been my experience that those people that don't want to bother to get dressed to come to class are the same ones that are late to class. They don't have their materials when they get to class. They don't, they want to be on their phone and be disruptive during class. My best students were always the ones that were there on time, dressed, ready to go. There was these makeup girls too. The girls that want to have a full beat at 8:00 in the morning, always late to class. So I feel like as an institution, when things get out of hand, then rules get put into place to kind of regulate things. But let's get into some of, other content creators, much bigger platforms. I went back and forth as to whether I wanted to do this, but, screw it. We're going to do it. Funky Dineva had an opinion. So we're going to listen to what he had to say.
Move to chorus over any type of policy that at the end of the day is for the betterment of people, right? But I want to be very clear with you guys. This conversation about these bonnets and these slippers and these do-rags, Black people are the only people who do this. What do you mean by that, Funky Dineva? When we got to Florida State University, one of the biggest bragging rights that we had at FSU, we used to judge them at FAMU, feeling like they put way too much emphasis on being dressed, trying to impress each other. Catch this, T. It was the white girls at FSU that introduced me to wearing pajamas to class. It was the white girls coming to class in their flannel pajamas with their FSU bookstore t-shirt with their slippers on in class that started me to doing it. Let's talk about college. Bitch, when I had an 8:00 class and I didn't have another class until 1:00, I wasn't putting on no clothes. Those of us that went to a PWI, that's what the whites did. Them white girls came in there with no bra on, flannel pajama pants, hair greasy as hell from the night before, smelling vodka through their pores. Let me explain something to you. I am sorry. I am of the belief what the hell I got going on doesn't have nothing to do with me being able to receive this lecture. And me personally, I learn better when I'm comfortable. Now, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it warrants a lot of pushback, but I also think it's a stupid thing to be honing in on. Now, I'm looking at the comments and some people are saying, Q, you are out of touch, that these kids are very much showing up to convocation with bonnets on. It's still very hard for me to believe that. What any one of us feels cannot be the standard by which the whole community operates, okay? In a world right now where we have Nolan Wells' situation. Nolan Wells' mama is a whole nurse practitioner, and history once again has shown us respectability politics doesn't get us anywhere. It ain't stopping no oppression, and it ain't changing how they treat us and how they look at us.
I don't really feel like that's a fair comparison. I understand what he's saying, but I don't think that's necessarily a fair comparison. I wish schools would stop offering Pajama Day as an award. It encourages behavior of going out like that. And I would say Pajama Day, Lotus Egyptian Flower, as an educator, is always like, it changes the mood in the classroom. All of a sudden, people don't feel like they got to do what they're supposed to do. It might as well be a free day. Let them put their pajamas on. And then once you start lecturing, the energy is like, it's supposed to be a free day. So, you said, I understand why HBCUs would want to instill a dress policy. I feel like PAC, everywhere has a dress policy, like in terms of business. I'm gonna let him keep going, but I think the comparison to Nolan Wells' mother is not a fair comparison.
It ain't changing. Whether you got on a 3-piece suit or whether you got on a 3-piece bonnet or whether it looks ghetto. And I see people keep putting it's ghetto, it's ghetto, it's ghetto. People have the right to be ghetto, guys. And just because you don't like it doesn't make it wrong. You do have the right to exist. And I'm just sick and tired of Black identity, whether it's ghetto, whether it's not ghetto. I am tired of it being overly police. And I am tired of us constantly buying into the notion that some of the things that we do that are common to us are ghetto and less than and need to be demonized. Leave people alone. I got on my bonnet, I got on my pajama pants, and I got a high IQ and the brain of an engineer. As long as I'm in this classroom, not disturbing no damn body, I'm getting my lessons and I'm passing. I just don't understand why you're policing my attire. If my titties are hanging out and my hoo-ha is hanging out, then whatever. But that's just me. I am never going to be moved to chorus.
He said, you got a right to be ghetto. And you absolutely have a right to be ghetto. just not under the guise of a private institution. They have a right to instill, their dress code. You go to work at Walmart, they got a dress code. You got to wear that little vest. You know what I'm saying? And it's ghetto when everybody does it. It's not just ghetto. Like I said, the students that I was an educator for, and this is another thing, like I was a cosmetology educator. So day after day after day, I watch criticisms of hairstylists. They raggedy. They don't comb their own hair. I don't trust her to do my hair. Look how she coming here. Her nails ain't done. We get criticized on a daily basis based on my appearance. Why am I going to spend money here with this person if she don't care enough to, put her own stuff together? So, you got a right to be ghetto, yeah, but not in a private institution where, there's standards. Once you become a student at a university, you're representing your university. What's happening to Nolan's mom is a standard on social media. Yeah, I feel like I am not ignorant to respectability politics. I understand that when and in my industry, I feel like we deal with it a lot. In an industry about hair, I did a young lady, I gave a young lady a haircut. It was maybe 2 weeks ago. Beautiful, thick, amazing head of hair. Unfortunately, I did not know her. This was her first time at the salon. And honestly, she probably won't be back. And it's not my fault. We had a great experience together. But the products that we offer at my salon are basically for European people with curly hair, not for us. So I wouldn't use it. And my hair is pretty fine textured. But I can't use it. It's just not going to work on my hair. So if I have somebody with extremely coarse, textured hair, when I put the product in her hair did not respond to it. So like I said, she was fine with it. She came for the haircut, but in a salon situation where they don't consider our hair, it's not, we have to go. When I know I have certain clients, I carry my own stuff. So I'm not ignorant to respectability politics, but I think this is different. This is not the same thing, in my opinion. And I don't appreciate being called stupid because of my opinion. I think we can live in a space where we have a difference of opinion without, HBU has to implement a dress code policy because we are overly consuming YT ways. We've lost our way. He did just sit up there and say he got that from the white girls. Yeah. So you take on, the behavior of somebody else and then turn around and say, why can't I? It has nothing to do with me going in there to learn. Well, then stay home. Just send the transcripts. Have somebody go take notes for you. Because I've heard, what if they have to go to work? There's a lot of excuses. When I was in school, I went to school, I left school, I went to be an assistant at a hair salon, left there, went to my job, which was like a wing bar that didn't close till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I went home for a couple of hours of sleep to do it all again the next day. So, you know what you got to do. Job recruiters and in chats are saying that recruits are showing up to interviews in under professional attire. Honestly, I feel like this next generation, and I hate to be the old fart that's talking about this generation. This is the I don't care generation. I don't care. I don't want to, like I said, even if I'm going to Walmart, I'm just going to put on something decent, even if it's some workout pants and a t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? I'm not rolling out of bed and going no damn where. Take out the trash maybe, and even then I'll be feeling like I hope the neighbors don't look out and see me looking busted like this. So that was Funky Dineba's take. This one is the one that threw me a little bit because I've been a supporter for a long time, and I was like, yo, hold on a second. You sent me something else. what is? Okay, so this is all just Nolan Will stuff. Gotcha. I'll look into it and we can talk about it tomorrow. So this was another take, and this one was the one that threw me off because it was just. I'll let y'all listen to it.
When it comes to Tuskegee putting this dress code in, saying that the kids can't wear do-rags and bonnets, I think it's stupid. I feel like a lot of y'all are talking about, oh, they need to be prepared for professionalism. Y'all sound stupid to me. I don't know why I can't go to class, which is at 9:00 in the morning, and I'm running from my dorm 10 feet away to class. Why do I have to get my hair done for this? Why can't I put something to cover my head on so I can go to class? Also, I would like for y'all to understand that a job and college are not the same thing. Those kids are paying to go there. A job is somewhere where you go to get paid, and that's them people's rules because they're paying you. At the end of the day, the students are paying for education, not so that their headwear can be policed. Y'all say that things are not about white supremacy, but that's only because y'all are not smart enough to see white supremacy when it's happening. It's college. It's not.
I beg to differ. I take offense to that because you take a stance that you feel like a student should wake up and come to prepared to the classroom, then that means we're too stupid to recognize white supremacy. I disagree with that. I'm not stupid.
Not a job. Those are two different things. If somebody is going to college, they can understand that when I go to class, I can wear my bonnet and my sweats. But when I go on a job interview, I'm going to make sure my hair is done. That's not hard for anybody to understand. And I don't know why y'all think that students in college are too dumb to understand time and place. A classroom, unless y'all are saying it's wear your business attire so that we can make sure y'all know how to dress. That happened when I was in school. There were certain classes where you wore business attire so that they could assess you and let you know how you were supposed to dress. It was not an everyday thing because every class doesn't require that type of clothing. At the end of the day, these are young kids that need to be focused on what they're learning in their work, not how they look. Grow up. When it comes to
not grow up, child. What's wrong with setting a standard for yourself? I do too, Pac. I don't agree with this take. You said, unfortunately, Bondi apparently recruits are showing up to interview not knowing how to dress. I don't agree with the statement that these students are paying you for education, not for how you dress. That's part of the education. You can sit up there and say, part of my process as an educator is repetition. You know what I'm saying? It's not about if I'm teaching a class and you say, listen, I'm going to teach you how to, roller set these, this client, and you sit there every single day and you watch me roller set and roller set and roller set, and you've watched me do it 1,000 times, you still don't know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? College is when you start, and in every senior class, the teachers are going to tell you college is not like high school. Your mother is not going to be there to wake you up in the morning. You're going to have to take on these things on your own. Nobody's going to be trying to help you, do your homework. These are things you're going to have to do on your own, and they're things that you're going to have to practice. Not saying they're not stupid. They know that they're not supposed to. Then why is it that the very bare minimum is you wake up, you put your clothes on, and you go to class? That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all. Do I think in the cantina, do I think that's a stretch? I guess, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, the faculty is saying that when you're on campus, then you got to be dressed. So because you're representing, Tuskegee Institute. You said working in a training program with students 18 to 24 years old that was allowed to wear bonnets and eat in class was fired from work within weeks for the same behavior. Yeah, because you don't start exercising that behavior until you start exercising that behavior. You're going to do exactly what you've been doing. I remember walking through the salon at the school. And same thing, I would walk in there in one of my class, and I'm correcting everybody. I'm not just my class, I'm correcting everyone. Because when I walk into the salon, I'm the superior in there, and I'm looking at your teacher and I'm wondering, why is your student laid back in the shampoo bowl eating, chicken wings? You know what I'm saying? When you're in a mall and if you want to eat your wings, walk outside the salon and sit at one of those tables. But that's behavior that's okay. And like I said, as a hairstylist, I listen to criticism day after day after day about how hairstylists ain't shit. These hairstylists, they charge too much. They don't comb their hair. They did. So we have to work extra hard in this industry to get respect from, your clientele. And this is another thing. I've worked in both. When I was in Atlanta, I worked in predominantly Black salons. Still on the higher end, but you know what I'm saying. And then when I moved to Florida, I worked in mixed salons. When you're working in the malls and things, you getting who's coming in there. But I built my clientele, my Black clientele, because I have a clientele full of professional Black women that were tired of going to the salon and sitting all damn day waiting to get their hair done or getting their hair wet down, and then they can't go somewhere in 5 hours you in the hair salon. Nobody comes to my shop unless they're getting a 5-hour service and they're spending 5 hours in there. So I built my clientele on professional women who wanted to go get their hair done and be treated with the same excellence that you would get in a white salon. So, take the white folks out of it. Take the racism and whatever this lady just said out of it. We deserve to be treated better too. And what about a standard of like I said, treating yourself? Wake up in the morning, think well about yourself. Not, I'm going to go in this class. It's 8:30 in the morning. I don't feel like I need to put no clothes on. You're already working at a negative. You know what kind of hair you got, but that's the whole point of putting the bonnet on. You put the bonnet on so your hair won't be messed up in the morning. Y'all wearing a bonnet as an accessory. Like I said the other day, it's not a watch. It's not earrings.
Another thing, put this in practice, y'all. These are teenagers going into young adults. That means these are 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Y'all don't remember what it was like during that time frame and how it was hard sometimes to get up early in the morning and do your hair and run to class and make it there on time. You're adding an extra thing that they have to worry about when they really just need to be worrying about learning and really digesting the information that they're being taught. And I don't understand why you can't teach them that there's time and a place. So yes, your bonnets are appropriate for this classroom setting, right? But it's not appropriate for actual professional setting where someone's paying you to be there. You don't think that y'all can teach them that? You think you need to put a ban on it so that when they show up to class with a bonnet on, you're going to refuse them education because they have a bonnet on. You're going to refuse them education because they have a do-rag on.
Yes, I will. Because you know why? When I have a class, very first day of orientation, I make it clear. This is how I run my class. I don't know what it was like before, but there's a dress code here. I need everybody to look and read carefully this dress code. And then you go sign the paper and you go hand it back to me. And I'm going to put it in your file just so we understand that we had this conversation. Yes. It is, I am going to refuse you because we had this conversation. You sign the paperwork. You show up to my class, not in, uniform. I'm going to say, and you know what we had at my school? You could go to the office. If you were dressed in something inappropriately, you could go in there and they got some t-shirts and things or whatever to put on. So now if you think you don't want to walk around in somebody else's old clothes, then you should have come to school, in the right uniform. It's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. And then to say that you remember what it was like to be young and not be able to wake up in the morning. I mean, what happens when you have a child that needs to go to daycare, another one that needs to go to, kindergarten, first grade, or however, you're a mother, you got to get the kids ready, you got to get the lunch ready, you got, if you're married, you got to do whatever it is that your husband, requires of you within your household. You got to get yourself ready, you got to get everybody dropped off where they need to be, and you got to get to your job on time. So what do you mean? These are things that needs to be practiced. If I lay up here and then it's a whole lot of kids that's been laying up all summer, staying up all night and sleeping in the day. And so what's going to happen the week before school? They all going to have to be reprogrammed to change their sleep patterns so that when it's time to get them up in the morning, it's not a fight. You said, I put clothes on and comb my hair at 18. What is she saying? I don't know. I was like really irritated because I've been supporting for a very long time. And I was like, no, I'm not stupid. Now, don't say that. It's one thing to have a difference of opinion, but relax. You said, I was raised in the country where the store would refuse service without a shirt and shoes because they can. And you know what? You're going in there to spend money. I'm going in this store to spend money. You're not coming here like that. And I still see that a lot of times. I had an early class in college. I set the alarm and got up and dressed and went to class. I mean, or you can be like, they're just young. They're 18. It's hard to wake up. Why is it hard to wake up when you're 18 versus, like I said, when you're a parent, mothers and fathers that got to get up and get their kids ready for school, and you got the daddy dropping off one kid and the mama dropping off another kid before they get to work? Why is it harder when you're 18 when you can just take your ass to sleep because you got a class in the morning? Why is it that you can't like prepare your hair and put your bonnet on so that when you get to class in the morning, then it's not an issue? And pajamas, I don't know why they're so freaking focused on the bonnet. It's pajamas, it's house slippers, it's you look like you don't care. And it's the generations of kids who don't care. Funky Dineva, in the end of that, segment that he did, followed up with, I don't really want to be around no people who walk around with bonnets and house slippers on. So,
or come in here with your hair possibly fucked up and look crazy in front of everybody and be humiliated. I feel like people don't think things out. And another thing, put this in practice.
People don't think things out. That's her opinion. And then she posted this. She kept coming. She's very passionate about this whole bonnet thing. So if white girls came to class like this, would y'all feel the same way? Not about person number one, because clearly her hair is combed, and that's, part of her. I'm thinking she's Amish. That's part of her religious makeup. Number two looked like she about to go to bed, so she can't come to house to class with that. Number three, I'm not so bothered by number three necessarily. And number four, she looked like she wearing a bonnet, so I would definitely have a problem with number two and number four. But this is giving This is giving, what about Weinstein? Remember when Bill Cosby was over here doing dirt and everybody was like, well, Weinstein does it. We always do that. What if white people do it? I don't care what white people are doing. And I don't use white people as my standard for how I conduct myself. Because 9 times out of 10, their behaviors are not better than what we have in our households. In black households is where we wash up with a washcloth. You know what I'm saying? Over there is where they don't wash up in the shower and things. I don't repeat none of their food. I don't repeat none of their behaviors. The kids be in the house cussing, telling their mother to shut the fuck up and all that kind of stuff. So, you prepare the night before your early class. It's easy. My books are ready. It's in my backpack. All the things I need before I go to bed because I don't want to get up. Even now, I hate it when I don't. And I wear black. I wear the same thing all the time to work. It's very simple. And so, but I hate those mornings where I'm like, I'll just do it in the morning. Then you get up and nothing really fits like how you want it to. Now you wasting time when you could have just tried your shit on the night before and know like how am I going to feel tomorrow? What do I do? My feet need to be comfortable. These are things you do before you go to bed. And what was you doing before? But fucking Dineva said something about the girl coming to class smelling like vodka. That's a whole nother issue. Are those ladies going to a class or a job or an interview? I don't know. This is the argument that she chose. Would you be bothered by this? Like I said, two of them look like they about to go to bed. So yes, the other two look like they may be going to work. The third person looks like whatever her job is, she might need to have her hair covered for it. You know, is she going to prepare food? She might need to have that on her head. You know what I'm saying? But her having her whole hair covered versus these two ladies with the bonnets on, they look like they're about to go to bed. Yeah, but I just feel like it's okay. As of somebody who's been a fan for a long time, I think it's okay to have a difference of opinion without being called stupid and unintelligent and grow up and all of those kind of things. So I was in my feelings. I'm like, I've been supporting you for a long time. And, just because I think differently, you think you're right and I think I'm right. So, there we have it. Oh, hey, Ja Tony. So let me see. I came up with my own. Video. Since she pulling out white women, I have something that doesn't involve any white women. This is all about us.
That told black women how to wrap their hair because it was too beautiful? Welcome to the story of the Tignon Law, where racism, fashion, and rebellion met in a head wrap. In 1786, in Spanish-controlled Louisiana, the governor passed the Tignon Law, forcing free black women, especially Creole women of color, to cover their hair in public. Why? Because white society felt threatened. These women were too fine, too fashionable, too confident, rocking elaborate hairstyles and accessories that turned heads and challenged white femininity. The law said, cover it up, tone it down. But these women? Oh, they did the opposite. They turned oppression into art, styling their tignons, that's the head wrap, in vibrant fabrics, jewels, feathers, and flourishes so bold they became even more captivating. The law tried to silence them, but they used fashion to speak louder. So the tignon wasn't just a head wrap. It became a symbol of resistance, pride, and cultural power. They told black women to hide their beauty, and black women made it unmissable. But if I told you there was once a law that told black women how to wrap their hair because it was too beautiful? Welcome to the story of the tignon.
So what are the respectability politics then? Because if historically we were told to wrap our hair because it was too beautiful, we made us stand out. Now we sitting over here arguing about whether I should be able to wear my bed bonnet to school in the morning. I pulled these up because I was like, this is the difference. This to me is not inappropriate. If you go to class and you've put the effort in, you know what I'm saying, to tie your hair up in a way that doesn't look like, they don't look like they slept in this. This to me looks like the tignon that they were talking about. Like, okay, I need, especially the young lady, the first young lady in the orange. She got a lot of hair. There's braids in there. She's got her hair tied up in a way. It does not look like, it looks like effort. It looks like you took some time to, take pride in yourself. I love these scarves. The scarves weren't on the list. I don't know if they would have to go back and forth about that. But to me, I feel like there's a difference between tying your hair up in a scarf. She talking about, I go ahead, I go to school, and then my hair's a mess, and I'm embarrassed. But you're not embarrassed to go to school in your pajamas and your flip-flops and your bonnet on? It doesn't make sense. So, yeah, I'm going to leave this conversation right here. In my opinion, I feel like there's nothing wrong with a private institution implementing a dress code, especially if you are going to be representing, this school. So, and I'm not ignorant. I'm not stupid. I don't need to grow up. I have a difference of opinion. And yeah, so maybe at some point I'll be out of my feelings, but I tend to hold a grudge for a while. So there's that. There's that. Yeah, let's move on. I don't want to know YouTuber beef. Not that she would ever know I'm over here. On to the celebrity news. Do y'all watch Married to Medicine? Because it looks like there's a little trouble over here in paradise. What'd you say, Jatuni? What about the same time white women start putting bustiers and frames on dresses to look thick like the sisters? Jatuni, we could go on and on and on and on and on. I think a lot of times when people bring up certain subjects in terms of respectability politics, it's more about arguing over convenience. There's no argument about having a requirement of a person to comb their hair becoming to class. To me, that's crazy. Okay, so yeah, your boy over here, Dr. G and Sweet Tea. It seems as though Married to Medicine's alum, Sweet Tea, and Dr. Gregory sparked divorce rumors after Sweet Tea scrubbed Dr. Gregory from her Instagram and the two unfollow each other. That's wild. Could there be trouble in paradise for Married to Medicine alums, Dr. Gregory and Dr. G Lunsford and Letitia Sweet Tea Lunsford? There could be, I suppose, or they're just friggin' immature. The couple has sparked divorce speculation after fans noticed the pair no longer follow each other on Instagram. That's wild that if you unfollow your mate because you mad, now all of a sudden you're getting a divorce. Stop. Adding even more fuel to the rumors, Sweet Tea appears to have removed every photo featuring Dr. Gregory from her Instagram page, while Dr. Gregory still has photos of Sweet Tea on his account. And to me, it feels like she's mad and she wants to show him a thing or two. That's what we do. You know, we use Instagram as a weapon. I've done it. It's the scrapping of the pictures and all. I've done it. The couple married in 2023 after Dr. Gregory highly publicized divorce from fellow Married to Medicine star Quad Webb. Their relationship quickly became a major storyline on Bravo's series, with viewers watching the couple navigate communication issues, tensions with the cast, and emotional conversations about starting a family. So what do y'all think? Do y'all think if somebody unfollows their partner, I think that's immature. I don't unfollow my partner. I won't tell you what I do because then you'll know too much of my business. Dude is too off code, can't deal with Greg. I think both of them are immature. I mean, if they said they unfollow each other. No, I guess he could still follow her. If she unfollowed him, he unfollowed her. They're making their argument public. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Her taking all his pictures down, I don't think that means they're getting a divorce. I think that means they're fighting publicly and we all up in the business. We know that Dr. Greg is immature. He only married Sweet Tea to poke at Quad. Quiet as it's kept, Sweet Tea still hasn't given him that baby. That would really, to me, Lotus Egyptian Flower, I think that's more of a red flag. At some point, he said he didn't want to do it. He gave her a year. He gave her a year to get the baby. That year has come and gone. Dr. G is my age. So I feel like he might be older than me. So at his age, like, the baby train is over. And, she came over here promising, a seed that she was not able to grow. I don't know. I think, does this mean they're getting a divorce? No, but when you marry somebody that's young enough to be your daughter, then you should probably expect to be playing, teenage games. She's not a teenager, but to me, the unfollowing and all of that, she's making the public know that she's pissed off. Now, we don't know why she's pissed off. Does she still live in Quad's house? Because if she still lives in Quad's house, that means, you know what I'm saying, they still together. Until they start living under separate roofs and things, and I'm not hoping for that. I don't care what these people do over here. But I guess, there's ways you can put somebody on mute. There's ways to not have to see. I don't think he posting like that. You know what I mean? I don't think that I don't follow either one of them, but I don't see him over there posting where you would always be seeing him on your timeline. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not over there. But y'all take Instagram to a whole nother level. If you unfollow your partner, does that mean you're headed for divorce? I do not know. For me, it's a no. but I prefer keeping people out of my business. So that wouldn't be something I would do. You know what I'm saying? Unless I'm done for real, that's not something I would probably do. Is unfollowing and that type of thing. So yeah, y'all, prayers out there for the Lunsfords. Let's hope they can hold it together, child. There's another one, y'all. Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise's daughter, Suri, has dropped Cruise from her last name, severing ties with her estranged father. Why don't we talk about how Tom Cruise is one of the biggest stars in the world, but he's a deadbeat damn daddy. And he has severed ties with not just this daughter, but I feel like Nicole Kidman has a daughter that he no longer has a relationship with. He's still with that kid, that son, his black son. Have y'all ever seen Tom Cruise's son? Let me see if I can find it, because he got a black son that looked just like him. And I've always questioned whether or not that was his real son or not. Tom Cruise's son, Connor, that's his name. We got pictures of Connor. Let me go ahead and share over here. Why don't we discuss how, Tom Cruise is a deadbeat dad? Is that okay? Like, for him to be a wealthy #1 box office actor and he doesn't have any relationship with his son, black son, who's the mama? We don't know who the mama is, but I'm finna pull him up though, because when I see pictures of this son of his, this is what they used to look like, what he was when he was a young teenager. That boy don't look like Tom Cruise to you? Because he does to me. Look at their smile. I'm just saying, people be having secret kids and don't tell nobody about it. Well, you said it's a white boy name? Yeah, he got a white daddy. His daddy named him. Is that Nicole Kidman's son? Because yes, this is the son with Nicole Kidman. So we don't know who the actual mother is, but all I know is this son looks a lot like Tom Cruise, and that's the only kid that he still got a relationship with. I don't know, y'all. What y'all think? Is Connor like a biological, or is that just a coincidence? We know it's not Nicole's son, but Connor and Tom sure look alike. Tom Cruise is a deadbeat dad. That's my point. These kids are over here disconnecting themselves. She does not want to be considered a Cruise. Yeah, he's black. We know that he's adopted. But his daughters, he also has a daughter with Nicole Kidman who he doesn't have a relationship with. Now, Tom Cruise came over to Oprah's couch, jumped up and down. This little girl looked just like her mother. Lucky for her. She don't have to look in the mirror and see her daddy. He came over here on Oprah's sofa, jumping up and down for, love of Katie. Then he took that lady over there and victimized her over there at that Scientology place. And she had to escape in the middle of the night. She had to pack up her things and run back home to her family and get away from that man. And if you've ever watched Leah Remini's series on Scientology and the way they, hate their children is something else. So he has, it's been since she was little, since they left. You said be true, because Nicole and Tom adopted children. She wasn't able to, she didn't have any biologicals with him. Their kids were adopted. She has a biological with her current husband, who I think they might be going through a divorce because he got a cocaine problem. Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt are both deadbeats. Well, let's talk about it, because, Suri has dropped the name Cruise from her last name, and Brad Pitt think he funny. He's got jokes. This is just cruel to me. In an effort to support his children as they attempted to distance themselves from their difficult upbringing, actor Brad Pitt announced on Monday that he was dropping his surname in solidarity with his family. I understand why my kids want no part of Pitt, and if they don't want it, neither do I, said the Academy Award-winning star of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, adding that he had not yet decided if he's going forward, he would adopt a new last name, go without the last name, or simply repeat his first name twice. So he gonna be Brad. So he think he's funny. Brad got jokes. His kids are over here removing his name. Now they same thing, and it's not just the adopted children. The biological did the same thing. So his kids are over here removing his name as their last name, removing Pitt as their last name. And he thinks it's funny to come over here and, joke about it instead of, I don't know, like it's very weird to me that's your take on your kids' feelings. Like, we're not going to acknowledge that my kids don't want no parts of me. We're just going to make it a joke. And I'm sure that the Hollywood people think that's so funny. These celebrities run to social media too much. I think this was during an interview. I don't even know if this was, something that was social media related, even though they know it's going to end up over here. But yeah, I think he sat up in an interview and said that nonsense to somebody. In solidarity with his family, I'm reading the comments, bro, they're uniting against you. The worst part is he knows that. He knows that they're uniting against him. It's just like, F you, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about these kids. So, yeah, he's a deadbeat dad. And I would say, I don't know that he's been physically, wasn't he physical with one of them kids somewhere down to the airport or airplane or something? I think he has been physical with one of those boys. And, that's been an ongoing thing with Brad. And this is mental abuse right here. So, and then it's double. Like, you go adopt some children, bring them into your home, and then abuse them anyway. It's wild. I'm so disappointed. Tom, I was, not surprised because he's a Scientologist. I'm, disappointed in Brad, but I'm not surprised. So this is what they do. And we talk about how Black fathers ain't shit. What about these two over here? Hollywood's two faves, Hollywood's two biggest box office stars are over here abandoning their children. Thankfully, they mamas got, their shit together. But it needs to be studied. It needs to be studied, the mindset of these men. And this one too. And we go in with Usher, because Usher done pissed me off. Now, I already think he's dead ass wrong. And I want to not put any, I'm actually do her first. I don't want to put, this little girl is arrogant and all the things. You know what I'm saying? Has nothing to do with nothing. Her attitude has absolutely nothing to do with what took place over here at this concert. And instead of, taking responsibility, he's somewhere in his feelings still, feeling rejected. He's over here doing Diddy type things. What y'all saying over here? Iconic, because one of the reasons he broke up with Jennifer because she didn't want to have kids. Smart lady. Smart lady did not have children with this man who's clearly incapable. But Jennifer talked about how hard it was being married to her, how uncomfortable she was in that marriage. So let this little disrespectful, arrogant little girl talk. And the way she talks don't change my mind about the situation. Two things can be true at the same darn time. We talked about how she was too young and didn't want to be over here with no damn.
It wasn't that I was into it. I was approached first and upgraded to VIP. And they don't give you any instructions on who, what, when, where, or how.
They didn't tell you they were going to pull you on stage?
They told me that it was a possibility of me going on stage, but they didn't confirm that until it was closer to time for me to go on stage. And of course, you're getting to go up on stage. Why would I decline that? People are pulling the narrative that I'm in a relationship or whatever the case may be. No one can tell me the reasoning as to why I said yes to getting on stage. But you also don't know who you're going on stage for or with.
I want to kind of pick up what you put down there. You said, I didn't know who I was going to be pulled up on stage with. The way I see it, there are two people. There's Usher and there's Chris Brown. And that means that you were banking on Chris Brown and you got Usher and you would have been more into it with Chris Brown. Am I reading this right?
Me solely, I went to the concert for Chris Brown. It's nothing against Usher or anything like that, but I'm more of a Chris Brown fan than I am of Usher. So, of course, it would have been a different reaction with Chris Brown. It wouldn't have been the stiffness or whatever the internet is portraying.
So you, after what happened, some of the fans were getting on you, saying you had no business being on stage. I thought your response to them was interesting. You explained that their team approached you and moved you to VIP before the show even started. And then you said, pretty privileges, something you hoes will never know about.
That post specifically was directed towards my city.
Why weren't you into it?
It wasn't that I was into it. I was approached.
She said that was directed towards her city. She gave a stank face towards Usher. Yes, she wanted. She was there for Chris Brown. Let's see what Usher had to say afterwards, and then we could get into it. So Usher's still in his feelings. So this is the following show. I'm assuming he's still out here.
Don't bring your ass up here if you don't want to be here. All right. God don't like ugly, but he most certainly don't feel too good about pretty privilege either. Before we get started.
He said, God don't like ugly, but he don't feel too good about pretty privilege either. Usher addressed the viral out on stage moment during a recent concert by telling future fans not to come on stage if they don't want to be there. He also added, God don't like ugly, and he ain't much of a fan of pretty privilege either, after Gabrielle Cheyenne referred to herself as having pretty privilege. She absolutely does, and I'm going to say why. Following their viral interaction, the moment has sparked conversation far beyond the concert itself. At the end of the day, being attractive doesn't guarantee success, respect, or opportunity. Every day you walk outside, you'll see attractive people from every walk of life. The people who build lasting success are typically remembered for their vision, discipline, ambition, and character, not simply because we're good looking. A pretty face may get attention, but what you do with your life determines your legacy. I think that's a bit of a stretch. We know who do. God might not like pretty privilege, but Usher and Chris Brown do. So if y'all didn't bring her up there, she was chosen. This lady has seats. Y'all went and took her over to the VIP area. Why? Because is it pretty privilege? Is that why she was brought over there? Because I feel like that's what it is. You don't know this lady. You took this young lady and you brought her over there. You brought her up on stage. You can look at her and tell she's a baby. Usher's 47 years old. Usher, little Diddy, should have felt uncomfortable doing more than he already did to that girl in the first place. The moment that she expressed that she was uncomfortable, it's on this iconic superstar R&B performer to pivot and let it go. He leaned in on her with his sweaty self. You know what I'm saying? He done put his microphone down. He's crawling in between her legs, and she is uncomfortable. At the end of the day, this was on y'all. This was on y'all. Y'all brought this young girl up there, and why did you bring her up there? I'm going to say it's because of pretty privilege. So for now, for Usher to be at the next show talking shit, it says to me like you still mad at this little girl because she chose Chris Brown over you. Anyway, y'all, that's all I got. I don't want to be climbed on top of by any of these young men. They going across the world, slipping and sliding in between everybody's legs. So if y'all go to the Usher concert, stay your ass in your seat, because you know, if you're not into him, he's gonna try to embarrass you after the fact. That's all I got, y'all. Thank you so much for getting me, over the hump. I feel like I could tackle this hump today, with great energy. So I appreciate y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all for, sending me all these things and keeping me on top of the news. You glad he stopped because she was uncomfortable? He should have asked if anyone else wanted to come up, or he could have just kept performing. This wouldn't have been a big deal had, he made such a big deal out of it. He was the one that got up and, shoot her off and everything. And so, yeah, Usher, do better. Stop doing Diddy things. And then you won't, have your feelings hurt. So, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow, y'all, 10:30. Enjoy the rest of your day. Don't let your humps be too humpy. And, I'm not going to, sweat too much over my hump either. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see y'all when I see you. Bye, y'all.